What I want to do now is step out and explore the Security and Compliance Center. And you're going to see when we get out there that I'm going to access some options from within Exchange Online, but they're going to route me automatically to the Security and Compliance Center. So we are back in the Office 365 Exchange Admin Center, and notice on the left-hand side we have an option called Compliance Management. Also down in the middle here we have another area that matches that. We have the in-place eDiscovery and hold, auditing, and data loss prevention. So whether we access it from the middle of the page or from the left, when we come in here, we have these options here. And as you can see, they're going to be moving this from inside of the Exchange Admin Center to the Security and Compliance Center. But right now we have the in-place eDiscovery and hold, and we can go ahead and click a plus sign here. It's going to ask us to provide some information on an in-place eDiscovery and hold. So we'll just go ahead and do tasks for this in-place discovery and hold. Look for all tasks assigned to Brian Alderman. Something like that. And then we'll go ahead and click next. And I can search all mailboxes, don't search any mailboxes, or specify mailboxes to search. Well, I said task for Brian Alderman. So I'll go ahead and click plus, and then I'll click on Brian Alderman. I'll click add, and I'll go ahead and do an OK. So now this in-place eDiscovery and hold is specific to Brian Alderman. I can also have it go out and search public folders by clicking this option right here. So I'll go ahead and do that, and then I'll click next. And right here, I can choose to include all content or filter based on criteria. I'm going to include all content. Place content matching the search query and selected sources on hold. So I'm going to click that checkbox. Hold indefinitely or hold for a number of days. I'm going to hold indefinitely because I don't know how long this lawsuit is going to take. And then I'm going to go ahead and click finish. And we've created this. I'll go ahead and click close. And now we have a new in-place eDiscovery and hold option. If I go over to auditing, inside of here, we have all sorts of options, some general reports out of the box, run an administrator role group report, run an in-place eDiscovery and hold report. This is where I would come in and get information about these in-place eDiscovery and holds that I'm creating as I just did on the previous screen. The DLP, the data loss prevention. As you can see here, you can now create a single DLP policy for content within SharePoint, Exchange, and OneDrive for Business. Again, we have our plus sign. We have an option to create a new DLP from a template, create a new DLP policy from a custom template. So maybe we've taken a template, we've customized it for specific needs or information that we're looking for, or create a brand new custom DLP policy. We're going to create a new DLP policy from a template, and we're going to call this US Finances. And notice down here, we can also provide a description, and then I can choose one of the out-of-the-box templates. And notice they were country or regional specific. We have Australia, we have Canada, we have France, Germany, Israel, Japan, Saudi Arabia, UK, and US. We're going to look for US financial data, so we'll click on that. Gives us information about this. Remember, it's talking about credit cards, account information, debit card numbers. We'll save this. And now notice we have a new DLP policy here for US finances and 0 matches, 0 overrides, and then false positive, and then mode testing without policy tips. We have manage policy tips here, and we can create a policy tip. So just to give you a quick example, policy tip type, notify the sender, allow the sender to override, block the message, or link to a compliance URL. So we'll just say notify the sender. We can specify the locale. So we'll just say here, English, and the text would be, please be cautious with what you are sharing. Something like that. And then we'll go ahead and click save. And now we have a policy tip. Then we'll go ahead and click close. And then we can modify this DLP policy. We'll click edit. And we're going to test the DLP policy with policy tips. We'll change that. Then we'll go ahead and do a save. And now you notice it's changed to testing with policy tips. So now we've created a DLP policy from inside of Exchange Admin Center. Well, let's go to our Security and Compliance Center. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to the Office 365 Admin Centers. And we have an option down here, Security and Compliance. And notice in here we have DLP as well. And we have Search and Investigation. So if we open up the data loss prevention, we have a policy here. We can click on this. It shows you the DLP policy matches as well as false positives. Scroll down and notice here at this level, we have the US data, Social Security number specifically, and we can also create a policy up here. Again, the benefit of doing it up here is going to be available to not only Exchange, but also to SharePoint and OneDrive. So we'll click on Financials. We'll scroll down here. Let's go down here as well. Here's our options for US financial data, credit card, US bank account, ABA routing number. So we'll go ahead and click Next. US financial data, a friendly description for your policy. We'll click Next. For all locations in Office 365, here's my Exchange, OneDrive, and SharePoint, or I want this policy just for SharePoint. I can do that here as well. We'll leave it for all of them. We'll do a Next. Find content that contains credit card numbers, US bank accounts, or ABA routing numbers, and then we can edit this to specify this. And we can specify content flagged if the content's being shared with people outside my organization or only with people inside my organization. So we'll leave it with outside. We also have an advanced settings option here. We're going to go ahead and click Next. And we have the option for customizing the tip and the email. We can have this set up so if someone sends a single credit card number, it's okay. But if they send 10 of them or 5 of them, whatever number we put in here, then we're a little bit more concerned about it. We can restrict who can access the content and override the policy. So some other options that we have. We'll click Next. Yes, turn this on right away. So we want this policy to go in effect immediately. No, I want to dabble with it and test it out first, or just create it, but don't do anything. I'll turn it on a little bit later. So we'll set to no, keep it off, and I'll turn it on later. I'll go ahead and click Next. Here's all my information, including edit buttons, if I want to modify anything. Yeah, I don't want to worry about this in OneDrive, so I'm going to choose this to let me choose my locations, and I'm going to turn off OneDrive just to show you that we can do that. Then we'll go ahead and do Next again. We'll do Next again, and this time we'll click Create. I just wanted to show you that you can modify that on the fly as well. And you'll see it pops up, the US financial data. We can edit the policy, we can delete the policy. The status is off as we opted to do. And we have Exchange and SharePoint, no OneDrive for business. We'll go ahead and close this. And notice now we have a new DLP policy for US financial data. So that's how we create one of those inside of the Security and Compliance Center. And down here we have Search and Investigation. We have Content Search, where I can go in and click plus, do a new search, search everywhere, search location selections, like all mailboxes or specific mailboxes. So we're just going to do Brian's stuff, and we'll choose a specific mailbox, which is going to be mine. And then we'll add Brian down here. We'll do an OK. Very similar to what we did before. We'll scroll down here, search all sites, choose specific sites to search, and I would choose this one if there's content in a specific site I'm concerned about, and search all public folders or don't search any public folders. I'll go ahead and click Next. Here I can set up some keywords if I want to add keywords as well as conditions to help narrow down the results. And then I can click Search, and I'll search just for Brian's information. And notice we got 48 items and 1.83 megabytes. Audit log search. If we want to cruise through an audit log, we have options in here. We can specify start date, end date, specific users, file folders, or sites, filtering out all of the content that you could normally find in an audit log. And here's an eDiscovery option here. And we can create a case for performing a search for eDiscovery, which will search for email or documents, Skype for business conversations, or Teams data. So all of these options eventually going to be managed up here at Security and Compliance. There are some at the different service levels, but as you can see, that's all going to migrate up here. And you'll be able to create policies at this level and apply them to multiple services throughout your Office 365 tenant. So in this module, we got to take a peek at DLP and how we manage our data loss prevention, as well as how to manage our legal holds and search for information that's part of our eDiscovery process. Most of this done through the Security and Compliance Center. And if it's not done through there now, eventually it'll all be done through the Security and Compliance Center, regardless of what product that you're using inside of Office 365. Next up, we're going to go ahead and take a look at anti-malware and anti-spam configuration options that we have available to us as part of our Office 365 Exchange Online service.